Exaro is a new investigative website. One of our most recent investigations was into how the head of the student loans company avoided paying tax and how it was signed off at the highest level of government, here at the Treasury. We teamed up with BBC's Newsnight to give the issue the maximum coverage, and as a result of our investigation, Danny Alexander, the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, was called to Parliament to answer questions. David Hencke is an award-winning journalist and author and was the Westminster correspondent at The Guardian for more than 20 years. David led the investigation into how the head of the student loans company avoided paying tax.
Well, actually this began by someone contacting me, who will have to remain anonymous, inside Whitehall, who said they'd heard of a rather curious arrangement at the student loans company. What they had heard was that actually the main person appeared to have a rather advantageous tax deal, and that this was causing consternation among other people. And basically that is the level of, barroom gossip, really, that someone says this. So what I did was I put a Freedom of Information request in, and about a month later there arrived about 60 pages of documents, emails, advice and so on, which took me a day and a half to understand because it was so complex. But basically what it disclosed was that the person who tipped me off about this was more than 101% correct. And in fact, the chap, Ed Lester, who was head of the student loans company, he had an arrangement that they did not take 1 penny off for tax or national insurance at the student loans company.
And then what happened?
Well, this was fascinating because basically Exaro entered in a partnership with Newsnight, BBC Newsnight, which meant not only did Exaro publish it, but it got major publicity on BBC television, and also the Daily Telegraph took an interest as well. The next morning, MPs were livid about this, and one MP, Nick Brown, contacted the Speaker of the House of Commons and demanded that Danny Alexander came to the House and explained exactly what he'd been up to in approving this. And the Speaker said yes, and Danny Alexander had to spend an uncomfortable 45 minutes being quizzed by Conservative, Liberal Democrat, Labour MPs, and it became a major embarrassment for the government that is still reverberating today, because actually they are trying to chase up other people in Whitehall, and so far 2 other people have actually had their contracts terminated, and Mr. Lester, backdated to the day ExaroNews announced it, has had to pay full tax on every penny he's earned, and they've just closed the contract down.
So what was the issue with the tax arrangement here, and when is it okay to have that kind of arrangement?
Well, it's okay if you're a freelance and you're working for a specific period of time and on one project. That is fine. There is no problem about that at all. And it's perfectly reasonable even then to have your own company as long as you're working for more than one person. What is not allowable is you to hold a high-flying job in Whitehall as a permanent post and say at the same time you're just providing an interim coverage for the ministry.
And what happens now?
Well, it's quite interesting. Now more cases are involving, and the inquiry is now, by the government, is now also extending to local government, where there appear to be some cases, to the National Health Service, and even possibly to some academy schools where there may be similar type tax arrangements for very highly paid people.
You can read all of David Hencke's articles on our website and his ongoing investigations as they go up. Just go to www.exaronews.com.